Scaffolding offers a safer and more comfortable work arrangement compared to leaning over edges, stretching overhead, and working from ladders. Suitable and sufficient scaffolding must be supplied for work at elevations that cannot be accomplished safely by other means. Properly erected and maintained scaffolding provides workers safe access to work locations, level and stable working platforms, and temporary storage for tools and materials for performing immediate tasks. In this program, you will learn the basic scaffold types and information to help you in selecting the right scaffold for the job. You'll also learn the guidelines for proper scaffold use, safe erection and dismantling procedures, and how to prevent damages to scaffolds by maintaining and storing them properly. In safe work practices, you'll learn how to work safely on scaffolds by avoiding falling hazards with the help of guardrails and tow boards, wearing safety harnesses, or the appropriate PPE. Finally, it covers safety training, which is required to use scaffolding safely. A scaffold is a temporary structure erected to support access or working platforms. They are grouped under three categories: self-supporting scaffolds, suspension scaffolds, and special use scaffolds. Click on the below buttons to know more details. Self-supporting scaffolds. A self-supporting scaffold is one or more work platforms supported from below by outriggers, brackets, poles, legs, uprights, posts, frames, or similar supports. Fabricated frame scaffolds are the most common type of scaffold because they are versatile, economical, and easy to use. The existing platforms remain until the frames are set, braced, and joined with stack pins. It must be designed by a registered engineer when over 125 feet. They also require guardrails installed with cross bracing. Tube and coupler scaffolds are built from tubing connected by coupling devices. Due to their strength, they are frequently used when heavy loads need to be carried or where multiple platforms must reach several stories high. Mobile scaffolds are set on wheels or casters. They are designed to be easily moved and are commonly used for things like painting and plastering, where workers must frequently change position. Suspension scaffolds. Suspended scaffolds are platforms suspended by ropes or other non-rigid means from an overhead structure. The types of suspension scaffolds include single-point adjustable, bosun's chairs, two-point adjustable, swing stage, and multiple-point adjustable. A single-point adjustable scaffold consists of a platform suspended by one rope from an overhead support and equipped with the means to permit the movement of the platform to the desired work levels. Two-point adjustable suspension scaffolds or swing stage scaffolds are the most common type of suspended scaffold, hung by ropes or cables connected to stirrups at each end of the platform. The platform is limited to 36 inches wide to prevent instability, must be securely fastened to hangers, must be of a ladder, plank, or beam type, and must not be bridged together unless bridge and hoist is appropriately sized. A multi-level scaffold is a two-point or multi-point adjustable suspension scaffold with a series of platforms at various levels resting on common stirrups. It must be equipped with additional independent support lines. Special use scaffolds and assemblies are capable of supporting their own weight and at least 4 times the maximum intended load. Some of the types of special use scaffolds include 1. Pump jacks that are a uniquely designed scaffold consisting of a platform supported by movable brackets on vertical poles. The brackets are designed to be raised and lowered in a manner similar to an automobile jack. 2. A ladder jack scaffold is a simple device consisting of a platform resting on brackets attached to a ladder. Ladder jacks are primarily used in light applications because of their portability and cost-effectiveness. Platforms should not be placed higher than 20 feet from the supported base. Scaffolds and their components shall be capable of supporting without failure at least 4 times the maximum intended load applied or transmitted to it. Never overload the scaffold. The design load of all scaffolds shall be calculated on the basis of light, supporting 25 pounds per square foot, medium, supporting 50 pounds per square foot, and heavy, supporting 75 pounds per square foot. Some of the common scaffold hazards are no guardrails on scaffolds, defective wood planks and inadequate planking overhang, unsafe access to scaffold, cross-bracing not adequate, inadequate footings, and bridging of scaffolds. A competent person must be capable of identifying existing and predictable hazards in the surroundings or working conditions. Their responsibilities include inspect scaffolding and components prior to each work shift, determine feasibility of providing fall protection and access, evaluate connections to support load and prevent swaying, determine structural soundness when intermixing manufacturer components, and train erectors and dismantlers to recognize work hazards. Another person who is designated to ensure scaffold safety is known as the qualified person. A qualified person is one who, by possession of a recognized degree, or with extensive knowledge, training, and experience, which qualifies this person to solve or resolve problems related to safe scaffold use. A qualified person may design a scaffold system to solve a site-specific problem. To make sure scaffold components are in good working order, carefully inspect all scaffolding parts before and during its erection, and especially after changing weather conditions and prolonged interruptions of work. A defective or damaged part could affect the integrity of the whole scaffold. Some areas to inspect include the following: planks and wood components free of splits, rot, burns, warps, saw cuts, any loose knots, splintering, oil or paint and opaque finishes that could cover potential defects. Planking shall be scaffold grade or equivalent and should remain free from excessive splits. Welds and bolted connections in good condition. Any damaged or weakened scaffold part must be immediately repaired or removed from service until it is repaired. Scaffold inspection tags are a vital part in creating a safe work environment for those who work on scaffolds. Some basics are: 1. Inspection and tagging of the scaffold is to be performed by a competent worker experienced in the erection of scaffold. 2. A unique scaffold identification tag number must be clearly identified on all tags for tracking purposes. 3. All scaffolds shall be inspected after the erection as per the Occupational Health and Safety Act requirements. 4. All scaffold identification tags will be of a solid green, yellow, or red color with black lettering. 5. All scaffold identification tags will have the front information displayed and must be completed for each tag. Be certain that scaffolds and components are not loaded beyond their rated and maximum capacities. Prohibit the movement of scaffolds when employees are on them. Maintain a safe distance from energized power lines. Prohibit work on scaffolds until snow, ice, and other materials that could cause slipping and falls are removed. Prohibit scaffold use during storms and high winds. Protect suspension ropes from contact with sources of heat, welding, cutting, etc., and from acids and other corrosive substances. Each platform on all working levels of scaffolds are required to be fully planked or decked, except when used only as walkways or for erecting or dismantling scaffolding. The platform and walkway must be at least 18 inches wide. Install each platform unit, plank, fabricated deck, or fabricated platform so that the space between planks and the space between the platform and the uprights is no more than 1 inch. The front edge of the platform must be no more than 14 inches from the face of the work, unless guardrails are used along the front edge and/or personal fall arrest systems are used. Never cover wood platforms with opaque finishes, such as paint, except for the edges, which may be covered or marked for identification. Remove debris and unnecessary materials from scaffold platforms. Prohibit the use of ladders and other devices to increase working heights on platforms. Report damage or defects to the competent person who will evaluate damage as well as take necessary corrective actions. Components should all come from the same manufacturer. If they do not, they should fit together without force and without affecting the scaffold strength. Do not modify components from different manufacturers to fit together without the competent person's approval. On a suspended scaffold, support lines must be able to support 6 times the rated load capacity. Other support devices such as outrigger beams, cornice hooks, and parapet clamps must be capable of supporting 4 times the load imposed on the scaffold or transmitted to it. Outrigger beams are stabilized by bolts or other direct connections to the floor or roof deck. Tiebacks can also be used to stabilize outrigger beams. All ramps and walkways that are 6 feet or more above lower levels must have guardrails. A ramp or walkway that is steeper than 1 vertical to 8 horizontal must have cleats not more than 14 inches apart that are securely fastened to the flanks to provide footing. Ramps and walkways may not incline more than a slope of 1 vertical to 3 horizontal. Assemble and use the scaffold just the way it was designed in order to maintain strength and stability. A defective or damaged part could affect the integrity of the whole scaffold. Erect and dismantle all scaffolds according to the manufacturer's instructions and competent person's direction. Pre-planning is necessary. Evaluation and preparation of the site. Identification of any potential hazards. Determining the type of scaffolding to be used, and activities to be performed and their weight requirements. Safely supported scaffolds start from a good base or foundation. To ensure this, base plates must be used. When scaffolds must be erected on any surface that might settle, such as soft or frozen ground, plates with mud sills are required. Many scaffold accidents occur when frozen ground thaws during work. A supported scaffold is never supported on boxes, loose bricks, or any materials that could be crushed or topple under scaffold weight. Height requirements. The height of a supported scaffold should never exceed 4 times its minimum base dimension unless tied, guyed, or otherwise restrained. If greater height is required, outriggers can extend the base and serve as stability bracing to increase the base area. Dismantling. Require that scaffolds be altered, moved, and dismantled under the supervision of a competent person. Alteration and dismantling activities should be planned and performed with the same care as with erection. Tag any incomplete scaffold or damaged component out of service. Before dismantling scaffolding, check that it was erected properly and that no structural alterations were made. Make sure the correct number of ties and braces are in place. Check that all planks are correctly seated and will not fall as you remove other planks. Lower all components to the ground by rope, hoist, or man-to-man, and in an orderly manner. Do not throw them off of the scaffold. If possible, avoid leaving the scaffold partially dismantled. Post warning notices at each point of access. Dismantled equipment should be stockpiled in an orderly manner. Always follow erection and dismantling procedures and manuals of the scaffold manufacturer. Maintain scaffolds in good repair. Use only the original manufacturer components for any replacement. Fabricated scaffolds should be repaired according to the manufacturer's specifications and guidance. Job-built scaffolds should not be repaired without the supervision of a competent person. Store all scaffolding parts in an organized manner in a dry and protected environment. Examine all parts and clean, repair, or dispose of them as necessary. Guardrails and toe boards must be installed along all open sides and ends of scaffolds that are more than 10 feet above a lower level. As per Osha, after January 1, 2000, the top edge height of top rails on supported scaffolds must be installed between 38 and 45 inches above the platform. When mid-rails, screens, mesh, intermediate vertical member, solid panels, or similar structural members are used, they must be installed halfway between top rail and platform. Toe boards must be at least 3.5 inches high from the top edge to the level of the walking surface, have no more than 1/4 inch clearance above the walking or working surface, and solid or have openings no larger than 1 inch in size. If tools, materials, or equipment are piled higher than the top edge of the toe boards, then mesh, debris nets, canopies, or other means of protection must be installed. Personal protective equipment. Appropriate personal protective equipment shall be worn by all workers at all times. It may include eye protection with side shields and steel-toed safety boots. A hard hat must be worn whenever there is a possibility of being struck by falling objects. Consult with your competent person for questions about appropriate PPE for your job site. Personal fall arrest systems. When engineering controls, such as guardrails and safety nets, cannot protect you from fall hazards, then a personal fall arrest system must be used. A personal fall arrest system must be attached by a lanyard to a vertical lifeline, horizontal lifeline, or scaffold structural member. The personal fall arrest system must limit free fall to 6 feet or less. Do not attach the personal fall arrest system to the guardrail system. The anchor point must be able to support 5,000 pounds per attached worker. When vertical lifelines are used, the anchor point must be independent of the scaffold. Standpipes, vents, other piping systems, electrical conduits, outrigger beams, and counterweights are not considered safe points of anchorage. Inspect the personal fall arrest system for wear, tears, cuts, and other signs of damage before each use. Employees should receive training on the particular types of scaffold that they are to use. Training should focus on proper erection, handling, use, inspection, removal, and care of the scaffolds. Training must also include the installation of fall protection, guardrails, and the proper selection, use, and care of fall arrest equipment. The competent person should receive additional training regarding the selection of scaffolds, recognition of site conditions, scaffold hazard recognition, protection of exposed personnel and the public, repair and replacement options, and requirements of standards.